What's up, everybody? GeauxBurns with some Nintendo news for all my Nintendo fans out there. Yeah, kind of a love-hate thing going on. But anyways, the Super Nintendo Classic Edition has been officially announced by Nintendo. By the way, this article is linked below in the description section. It's coming September 29th, and its price tag is basically $80 US. Now you're playing with superpower. The golden age of 16-bit gaming returns. Yoshi, Samus, and the Star Fox crew are waiting for you to come and play. The Super Nintendo NES Classic Edition system has the original look and feel of the 90s home console, only smaller, plus this one comes fully loaded with 21 games. The 90s called. They want their controllers back. Two wired retro Super Nintendo controllers included for multiplayer gaming right out of the box. Get your hands on some of the best two-player games of the era, including Super Mario Kart and Street Fighter II Turbo. Hyper Fighting. The Super Nintendo Classic Edition is compatible with Classic Controller Pro accessories as well. Just plug in and play. So, here are the 21 games that are coming at the moment for the Super Nintendo Classic. Now, these are the top games. Super Mario World, Super Mario Kart, the original Super Mario Kart, Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past, F-Zero, Super Metroid. Loved all 5 of those games growing up playing the Super Nintendo, and I'm very excited for these games. And overall, very good quality games. Now, some of the games that were on the Nintendo Classic, the NES Classic, some of them were hit and miss. There were some really good games, and then there were some iffy games. But overall, this is a pretty solid lineup. But I do have an exception that I will talk about in a moment, something I would like to see added, hopefully. Probably not, but you never know. But here's the interesting thing. Not only are we getting Star Fox, we're also getting the never-before-released Star Fox 2, as you may have noticed. Now, for all the Star Fox fans out there, including myself who played the original, and yes, the original is coming with the Super Nintendo Classic in September, there was rumors and whispers on the wind of Star Fox 2 being in development. And it never happened. And a lot of us were wondering, well, what happened? Where to go? I mean, we enjoyed playing the original Star Fox, and we thought that eventually we'd see Star Fox 2. It came and went, and then we got the N64. And there were other Star Fox games that came out, but we never got, quote-unquote, Star Fox 2. But turns out we are finally getting it after all this time. So, for the first time ever, play the never-before-released Star Fox 2, which apparently was finished. It was made, finished, but for whatever rhyme or reason, Nintendo canceled it. And it's just sat on the shelf in Nintendo all these years, patiently waiting to see the light of day. And, I mean, that's awesome. So hopefully it lives up to the very first Star Fox game. So, including Star Fox 2 and these 5 games, we're also getting, obviously, Street Fighter II Turbo. Let's see, Super Punch-Out 2, Castlevania 4, Donkey Kong Country, one of my favorite games from Rare. Actually, I think that was like the game that really set them on the map. I mean, there were games that they made before Donkey Kong Country, but, that's the game that a lot of people, got to really know about, Rare, our developer, and what they were capable of. And it's such a great game. I loved Donkey Kong Country. Mega Man X. You got a Kirby Superstar, which is basically 8 games in one. Final Fantasy 3. There's a lot of Final Fantasy fans out there that'll be excited about that. Kirby's Dream Course, Star Fox, as I mentioned. Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. Admittedly, I never played Yoshi's Island. I played the hell out of Super Mario World, and I'm very excited that Super Mario World, along with Super Mario Kart, is part of the Super Nintendo Classic. But I guess it's a chance to also play Yoshi's Island, even though I heard the babies, like Baby Mario, was very, very annoying. And this is a game I absolutely loved playing as a kid. Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars. This is a fantastic game. I loved it. And it's like one of those rare occasions where Mario actually teams up with Bowser. Mario and Bowser, along with the princess, teaming up against another evil that has invaded the Mushroom Kingdom. It was an awesome game for its time. Definitely a lot different than what you're expecting from Super Mario. But that's one thing about Super Mario. It's gone in many different directions. From, the original Super Mario Brothers to Super Mario Brothers 2, Super Mario Brothers 3, which I'll talk about in a minute, to, of course, Super Mario Kart. So Mario, you know, he's capable of going in all sorts of directions, including Dr. Mario. Yeah, but I absolutely love playing this game. And then, of course, we got Contra 3, we got Secret of Mana, Earthbound, and finally, Super Ghouls and Ghosts. So that makes up the current lineup for the Super Nintendo Classic. Once again, the system is available on September 29th, 2017, and retail information is coming soon. So I have a few things I want to mention. First off, I hope that the controller cords for the Super Nintendo Classic are actually long enough, you know, to where you can actually, you know, sit on your couch and, you know, play on the Super Nintendo Classic, unlike the NES Classic. I realize there's extenders that you could have gotten. For those of you that were able to get the NES Classic, most of us didn't. And that leads me to my next point, Nintendo. For the love of God, this time around, learn from your mistakes. And please, make way more Super Nintendo Classics for retail than you did with the NES Classic. Because I wanted one from day one last year when it was announced. And I could never get my hands on it. And a few months ago, whenever the final shipment came out, I showed up a day late to Best Buy, and they were already gone. And from what I was told, there was already a line outside of Best Buy the day before. And I only found out about the shipment when it was obviously too little too late. So unfortunately, yeah, you did not make enough NES Classics. And I'm a Nintendo fanboy from the beginning. I was playing the original NES Classic along with my stepsister on my little black and white TV. We used to fight over it, playing the original Super Mario, Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Bros. 3, and of course the original Legend of Zelda. Speaking of Super Mario Bros. And Mario Bros. 2 and Mario Bros. 3, there's one game that we thoroughly enjoyed playing on the Super Nintendo that I do not see. And that is Super Mario All-Stars. And I'm sure there's probably a few games that you would like to see added as well to this lineup. And if there's a game, let me know below in the comments section. But Super Mario All-Stars, which included like remastered editions of Super Mario Bros. 2, and Super Mario Bros. 3, it's not here. And personally, I think that is total BS, Nintendo. I absolutely loved Super Mario All-Stars. And since I wasn't able to get the NES Classic along with many other Nintendo fans, I don't know, I think the least you could do is add Super Mario Bros. All-Stars to this lineup. And maybe a few other games as well, because it's only 21 games, but at the same time, like I mentioned, this is overall a pretty solid lineup. You know, these are fantastic games. I've played a whole bunch of them, like Mario RPG, Star Fox, Donkey Kong Country, as well as these 5 games as well. So yeah, I didn't play all these games, but a lot of these games I really did enjoy, and I also heard good things about some of the other games that are part of this lineup. So yeah, like I mentioned, I would really like to see longer controls. I would like to see more Super Nintendo Classics produced for retail, so you don't have them all scarfed up by eBay scalpers. You are going to be charging hundreds or thousands of dollars for them, just like they did with the NES Classic, which is total BS. And I would like, if there's still time, for at least a few more games. At the most, I would like Super Mario All-Stars added, which is basically 3 more games. And it was specifically remastered for the Super Nintendo, and yeah. So that's my thoughts about the Super Nintendo Classic. I feel like I was a little burned, like most of you, from what happened with the NES Classic, because like I said, I was really excited about it, wanted to go back and play some of those old games, but alas, it was not meant to be. But hopefully, Nintendo will learn from their mistakes regarding the NES Classic, and will do us right with the Super Nintendo Classic coming for a retail price of $80 US on September 29th, 2017.